and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Wednesday, the 8th day of July, 2020. It has been, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days since I had my last show. So it is certainly great to be back on the air. Looking forward to conversing with you on the various things occurring in the Cayman Islands, talking about anything that you want to talk about. We will have MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan in the studio with us later on as well. I hope and I trust that everyone enjoyed the long holiday weekend as well. And I trust that you and your families are all doing well. For those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road and always remember that the life you save may be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday as well. If you've celebrated one over the past few days, we also want to wish you a happy birthday. And if you're going to celebrate one within the next few coming days as well, in advance of that, we want to wish you a happy birthday as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times as well. I had a WhatsApp message on Friday for a birthday, and I missed that WhatsApp message. I will find it, and even though it's coming 5 days late, I will announce that during the course of the show as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period of time, there is always someone waiting to take your calls. As usual, 9 times out of 10, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. So you can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, then email us at for the record, one word, for the record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube. And you do that simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. So like I said, Mr. MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan will be in the studio with us, and he will join us after the 8 o'clock news here in the studio. Meanwhile, any WhatsApp messages that may be of interest. Here's one. Say, this is what concerns me the most about easing lockdown restrictions. Alcohol and social distancing usually don't mix well. And when combined with people exercising poor judgment, it tends to get even worse. A small portion of the population is likely to ruin it for everyone else. And that is so true. And we have seen what has happened in several jurisdictions where they have had to reverse course after making some rash decisions and after also not getting the cooperation of the public. So here in the Cayman Islands, one of our news sites reports that we have gone 6 consecutive days without any positives. And the last report we received on the COVID-19 testing, 7th of July, the medical officer for health, Dr. Samuel Williams Rodriguez, reports 583 COVID-19 tests have been carried out since it was last reported, and none of those were positive. So again, it is refreshing. It's also a relief to know that we're not reporting any additional positives. We hope and we trust that people continue to come forward to be tested. We urge everyone not to let their guards down when it comes to being careful. Those job sites, people should be continued to be tested. Their temperatures should be checked as well, because we know that some people will have a motivation not to want even know that they're positive. Even if they're asymptomatic, they would not want to know, because then they don't want to have to isolate for various reasons. For example, they want to continue to work because they need the money as well. One disturbing issue that was raised by the police in release that was issued yesterday, and it talks about the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service's response to breaches of regulations by liquor licensing establishments. And you heard me read what one of our listeners wrote into us earlier this morning as well. And this release reads, over the past weekend, 3rd to the 6th of July, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has encountered several instances of patrons and staff at liquor license establishments breaching the prevention, control, and suppression of COVID-19 regulations that are currently in place. On Saturday night, the 4th of July, officers attended a bar on Seymour Drive in Georgetown and found over 200 persons gathered on the premises. Patrons were socializing at liberty, most not wearing masks and not maintaining social distancing. Officers also observed staff members at the location not wearing masks. Officers then entered the building and observed several persons who appeared to be seated inside the bar paying for drinks, a further violation of the regulations. When officers attempted to speak to the owner of the establishment, several persons in the crowd became aggressive towards the officers and refused to comply with the instructions given. Additional officers attended the location, and the owner was warned for intended prosecution for the breaches. Shortly afterwards, the officers attended an outdoor restaurant and bar on West Bay Road and observed several hundred persons at the location, again mingling freely and committing similar offenses. The manager of the establishment was spoken to, informed of the breaches, and warned for intended prosecution. Shortly after 12 a.m. on Monday morning, the 6th of July, officers attended a bar on Shamrock Road where they observed over 200 persons gathered on the property, mingling freely without masks and not maintaining social distancing. While the establishment had limited the number of persons inside the bar itself, officers also observed staff members inside not wearing masks. The manager of the bar was spoken to and warned for intended prosecution for the breaches. We are gravely concerned at the level of disregard being shown by the staff and patrons at certain establishments. While most bars and restaurants have been complying with the regulations, the few that do not can potentially put the entire community at risk, said Superintendent Pete Lansdowne. Our officers will continue actively enforcing these breaches through prosecution and are also submitting the details of any breaches we find to the Liquor Licensing Board. We will take the appropriate action in response. Persons will be liable to a fine of $250 for each offense. While we understand that Cayman is in a relatively safe position worldwide, and that persons are anxious to socialize after the extended period of curfew and restrictions, we implore upon everyone in the community to minimize risks, continue to observe the regulations that remain in place, and stay safe, added Acting Superintendent Brad Ebanks. Over the course of the long weekend, officers responded to several other incidents. A total of 25 persons were arrested for various offenses, including 6 for DUI, 4 for other traffic offenses, 1 for illegal gathering, and 2 for assault. So we're getting back to normal in the Cayman Islands, where some of the lawlessness continues. Like I have said before, we need swift action to be taken as far as prosecution is concerned. And I would go even further than that. Those persons who are found in breach and are here as our guests as a result of being on work permits, their work permits should be revoked and they should be summarily removed from the Cayman Islands. If we have extended the hand to you to allow you to work in the Cayman Islands, and then you are going to turn around and abuse those privileges, we don't need you here. We have seen over the weekend where hundreds of persons have left the Cayman Islands because of the situation. If we need a few more hundred to go, then they should go. Some may say, well, what about the Caymanians who are in breach of it? Well, we find them, and maybe we should start naming and shaming as well, because they are putting you at risk. They are putting you at risk because if the virus continues to spread, then eventually, at some point in time, there's a good chance that it will reach you. So we need swift justice, just like the curfew breakers when we had the early lockdown, when we did it then, we need to do it now. So Director of Public Prosecutions, please get on the ball. Let's deal with this. The Immigration Department, work, whomever, let's deal with those violators who on work permits and send them on their merry way home. We do not need them in the Cayman Islands. Folks, time for a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Mary Genevieve Bawden, 1914 to 1992.
Ms. Genevieve was a dedicated Sunday school teacher and Cub Scout captain. She was active in the Christian Endeavor Society of the Presbyterian Church. When she passed her first examination in Jamaica, she began teaching under the guidance of Mr. T.F. Hill. She left the government school system for a time and ran a private school in her home from 1930 to 1944. She received higher education in Jamaica and in New Zealand, Barbados, and Wales. Ms. Genevieve served as head teacher in the government schools in West Bay, Northside, and Savannah, and also taught in Cayman Brac and Georgetown. When she retired, she was executive officer in the Department of Education.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Rotary Central Cayman Islands witnessed the first virtual changeover where Colin Fawkes, the 34th president of Rotary Central, reviewed achievements, presented awards while opening the door of the new Rotary Central year 2020 through 2021. Witnessed by over 80 Rotarians and guests, unimpeded by distance and separation. Jeanne Moss was installed as the 35th president of Rotary Central Cayman Islands. President Jeanne is the 5th Lady President of Rotary Central. The installation ceremony was effected by the then 7020 Rotary District Governor-elect Charles Seeley of the Bahamas, along with Assistant District Governor David Cacaldi of the Cayman Islands. New Rotary Year, new year of opportunities to serve our community. Thank you, President Colin. Job well done. Welcome, President Jeanne of Rotary Central Cayman Islands. Rotary opens opportunities.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
Hi, I'm remodeling a bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to remind you that MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, will be with us in the studio after the 8 o'clock news. One of our listeners has written in and said good morning and thanks very much for your exposure of those bars. The Liquor Licensing Board should also suspend their license for a period of 1 month minimum, in addition to all other suggestions you recommended. So I want to thank that individual for that. This other one says, hi, Mr. O.C., I surely agree with you. I said it over and over. The government must get rid of all these bad, rotten eggs. Get rid of them all. The other thing that the government needs to attack with a hammer is the this one has to do with something about the loud music and inappropriate music as well. One of our, I should have shared this with you last week. We do have a caller, and I'll take that caller in a minute. I should have shared this with you last week. This was a very, very good suggestion in relation to our tourism product and what we, and a suggestion what the government should do to advertise tourism in the Cayman Islands. And the person says that we should hire some local production companies to do some drone video of our famous tourist spots and attractions around the islands to feature in various tourism markets. And when the COVID-19 pandemic is over and our borders reopen, visitors will be eager to visit, having been taken on virtual tours during of our virtual tours of our hotels, craft markets, restaurants, 7 Mile Beach, the people, etc. Kind of like a sneak peek of what is in store for them when they wish to visit us in the future. And for that to come about, we have to continue to be as successful as we are in controlling the spread of the virus. And those instances that were brought to our attention by the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service over the weekend, the long holiday weekend, those actions of those persons do not help us in terms of retaining and maintaining the success that we have had in that regard. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Your Worship.
Good morning. How art thou?
I want to tell you how much better I am. this 5 minutes than I was 5 minutes ago. Listen to me, Your Worship. I really don't agree much. I didn't say I totally disagree. I don't agree much with making law from the bench. But someone had to say it. As a matter of common sense and a matter of love for your country. We don't need hangers-oners. And by now, this is 2020. We are living in the 21st century. I don't know why we can't say this is our plot of land. This is our plot of land. I don't know why we shame and the place. Okay, it's mine. You know what? Let me remind you what the old people would say. The first thing smoking, it leaves every day. They can take the first thing smoking out of here. Let them know that we are serious.
Yes.
I'm talking to the government.
Yes.
We are serious about this. The government punishes themselves by working on this. They punish us to keep the rules and regulations. And yes, the human condition will give you that ours break the rules too. But Caymanians are not ungodly rule breakers. We can bring them to heal our own. But I mean the people that come here that don't really care. Why are we keeping them here? We getting a good result from this. This is our plot of land, and they work hard and they punish us, and we take the punishment because we understand why they're punishing us. Then we can make few people mess it up. They needs to go. First thing smoking, go far, stay long. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care, my dear. Take care. You always have some very, very compelling points that you make as well. I want to thank you for that. One of our listeners has written in, and this has to do with a person losing their wallet yesterday. They point out that, well, first of all, they talk about the breaches of the COVID regulations, and they say these persons don't acknowledge that this thing is serious, and it's either they comply or their business, they will lose their business. And the person points out that their son went to a shop, a restaurant on Eastern Avenue yesterday, purchased 2 lunches, and left his wallet on the counter. And as quick as he recalled and went back, the wallet was nowhere to be found. All of his important information, including money, was in it. And there is a camera in that particular restaurant. Say that the staff there told him that they would call him back in 2 hours. And the individual's sister went there. The staff had already left. This is so sad. I have a business, and I've seen where customers came there and left stuff, and it is my responsibility to look out for them and protect them so that my customers are comfortable with me and develop trust. And the person says that I would like if the person who took it up would just take it to the police station, even if the money isn't returned. He has his necessary information, including his work identification. So again, person attended a restaurant, left their wallet on the counter. When they realized it, return wasn't there. Cameras in the location. They haven't been able to get any information, and they're just asking. They're not so much concerned about the money as to the other important documents that are in that wallet, and that person needs to do the right thing. Turn it in either to the police or even take it back to the location. If you want to just simply put it in something like that and drop it off somewhere so that the person isn't inconvenienced. Now, it's having to replace documents at this time is even more difficult than it usually is. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan will be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
Good news. Reusable bags can again be used when shopping at all Foster's and Price Right locations. So you don't forget your bags when shopping with us, we suggest leaving them in your car. However, if you do forget, we now have new 100% recycled reusable bags made from recycled and clean clear plastic bottles, which helps divert plastic from landfills. You can find these at all Foster's locations. For more shopping updates, follow at Foster's K-Man on social. Foster's. Better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that with the COVID-19 emergency withdrawal program, we reviewed over 12,000 member applications in May, approved over 8,000 applications, and paid over CI 90 million to our members from June 12th onwards? We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the emergency withdrawal program, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advance notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. In the coming weeks, the RCIPS Community Policing Department will be out in force across Grand Cayman supermarkets and complexes with their command vehicles to continue their distribution of reusable protective face masks. Deputy Governor the Honorable Franz Manderson told lawmakers during a recent session of the Legislative Assembly that so far there had been 47,584 masks distributed on Grand Cayman, 3,200 on Cayman Brac, and more than 170 on Little Cayman.
In addition, the RCIPS Community Policing Department currently holds a further 18,500 masks for distribution. For homes that were vacant during the distribution processing, calls are received from residents by community policing officers, and community safety officers will follow up delivery to those homes.
Any resident who has not received their reusable protective face mask is encouraged to make direct contact with their local community policing beat officer or community safety officer for early delivery of the mask. Level 2 minimal suppression of Cayman's COVID-19 response is now in full swing, and as the Health Services Authority reopens its elective surgeries and outpatient care, there will now be an accompaniment allowed for elective procedures such as C-sections. Chief Medical Officer for the government, Dr. John Lee.
As far as having an accompaniment to a C-section, I understand they are revising their process to allow that. It's taken a change in view of the COVID restrictions, and that is now possible.
COVID-19 screening will be required for all patients being admitted for elective procedures, including C-sections, 3 business days prior to their procedure, and will be directed to the designated screening area. HSA officials say persons needing to come to the hospital can rest assured is safe, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, as they regularly manage infectious disease and have put additional measures in place to ensure patient safety. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. Hong Kong has ordered schools to prevent pupils from expressing political views, just hours after China's new security office opened in the territory. Students are to be told they can't chant slogans or sing political songs, including the pro-democracy anthem Glory to Hong Kong. The Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development has said that new data confirm long-held suspicions by anti-poverty campaigners that multinationals exploit loopholes in regulations to increase their profits. The OECD says there needed to be much more work aimed at limiting opportunities for international firms to reduce their tax liabilities. Police in northern India, searching for one of the country's most wanted gangsters, Vikas Dubey, say they've shot dead one of his closest aides. Amar Dubey was thought to be involved in a gun battle in which 8 policemen were killed. Hotels in India's western state of Maharashtra, including the country's financial capital Mumbai, are allowed to reopen today after more than 3 months of coronavirus lockdown. They're limited to a third of their usual capacity. The Netherlands and Austria have adopted new coronavirus measures against countries in the Balkans and beyond in response to rising infections there. The Dutch government shut the borders again to people from Serbia and Montenegro. Austria has warned against travel to Bulgaria, Romania and Moldova. Pope Francis has condemned the migrant detention centres in Libya, saying people endure hellish conditions there. Detainees have given accounts of rape, torture and malnutrition. The Pope said the world wasn't getting a full picture of how bad things were in the camps. And police in Britain have apologised to one of the country's top athletes, Bianca Williams, after she and her partner were pulled over in their car in a stop-and-search operation. The couple, who are both black, had accused the police of stopping them purely because of the colour of their skin. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. News is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that with the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, we reviewed over 12,000 member applications in May, approved over 8,000 applications, and paid over CI 90 million to our members from June 12th onwards? We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Mommy, have you been taking your medication? No, I think I forgot to pick it up. Your doctor prescribed it for a reason, so you should be taking it regularly. I know, TD. Thanks for the reminder.
If you are elderly or vulnerable and need your prescription delivered to your home, contact the Health Services Authority Pharmacy at 949-8600. Taking your medication when prescribed is important to your health, and your health matters to us. For more information about our pharmacy hours and locations, visit hsa.ky or call 949-8600.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it. Drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Good morning. Time now to check on weather. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 85%. Barometric pressure is 29.93 inches and rising. The wind is northeast at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 80 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers along with light easterly winds and slight seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as a weak tropical wave moves west of the Cayman area. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving west. Now the forecast for today and tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s today and will fall to the mid 80s tonight. Winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 11:47, low tide this evening at 5:45, and the sun will set this evening at 6 minutes past 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:55. And the outlook is calling for an increase in cloudiness and showers from tomorrow evening as the tropical wave moves into the Cayman area. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was a proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Superstitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Superstitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Superstitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road, still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning, Cayman Islands. Let's take a look at traffic. Traffic flowing moderately coming from the Butterfield roundabout heading towards the Industrial Park area. Traffic is flowing moderate as well on Eastern Avenue and Godfrey Nixon Way. Light traffic on Old Roberts Drive. And traffic flowing pretty good on Edward Street in front of the Georgetown Post Office. As we look to the east, traffic is steady on Shamrock Road and steady but flowing traffic on the Linford Pearson Highway. Traffic busy in some sections of Crew Road, other sections steady traffic. And coming from the West Bay four-way stop, light to moderate traffic flow. And that's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic outlook. Remember, take heed, reduce your speed.
Subway is helping to keep Cayman safe by limiting store openings and hours, offering curbside pickup and delivery right to your door. With 3 locations currently open to serve you: Anderson Square in Georgetown, Centennial Towers in West Bay, and Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah. Subway is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on soft curfew days. Free delivery for orders with a minimum $20 purchase. Delivery times only from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Subway, helping you to enjoy your favorite foods in the safest way possible.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
When a storm is approaching, be sure to not only stock up on drinking water, but also non-drinking water. This is water that can be used for cleaning and washing. You can store non-drinking water in clean bathtubs or other large sterile containers. Visit the Water Authority's website, www.waterauthority.ky, or follow us on social media for more hurricane preparedness tips.
Digicel is all about giving customers more convenience, more peace of mind, and more flexibility. Do more with the new My Digicel app. Buy plans, pay your bill, track your credit, track your data, and monitor your account. It's easy to use and has everything you need in one place. It's time to simplify your life, so go ahead and see for yourself. Download the new My Digicel app today. More made simple.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record as promised. Before I do that, on Friday, I received a WhatsApp message about a birthday, and of course I have an iPad in front of me, I have a laptop, I have my phone, and I have Radio Cayman's phone to monitor all of the WhatsApp and everything. So sometimes it is not unusual for me to miss something. So I missed a happy birthday on Friday, and it was going out to Miss Nikita Saintville from her mother, Miss Juanita, and she wanted to wish her a happy birthday on Friday. So we're sending out belated happy birthday greetings to Nikita today, or if she wants to be like the Queen, she could celebrate Friday as her official birthday and today as the unofficial one, since we're sending the belated birthday greetings. So if you want to celebrate again today, do like the Queen does, celebrate two birthdays as well. So her mother, Juanita, says that she hopes she had a great day. She knew she had a great day and that she loves her as well. So I want to thank you for that. And also, what I would like to give a big shout out before I introduce Mr. Brian as well, to give a big shout out to Mr. Myron Blair. And on Sunday, Myron arranged, and it was done very quickly, but he arranged Pedals for Charity, and this is a release that was issued, or something that was put out mostly on social media by the Cayman Food Bank, and it reads, the Cayman Food Bank would like to thank the man with a big heart, Mr. Myron Blair of the Daybreakers Cycling Club, for his idea to ride 150 miles for charity. The charity chosen was the Cayman Food Bank. Others joined along the way for portions of the journey. Pictured from left to right is OC, Tracy Rankin, Myron Blair, and Philip Heyer. Others who rode along for parts of the journey were the Premier of the Cayman Islands, Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Denville Clark, Davidson Ruende, Kirk Lee, Andrew McLaughlin, Michelle Veldhoven, Eddie Powell, Richard Wildman, Randy Christian, and Andre Tahal. There were many persons also given moral support along the way. And Mr. Philip Heyer, the operations manager at the Cayman Food Bank, was extremely grateful and thankful for that. And you can still basically donate to the food bank, Cayman Food Bank. They need all of the assistance that they can get, and all of the riders who did their part in it. They're all contributing as well, to it. So again, want to thank Myron. Big shout out to him for arranging that at short notice. So, without any further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to the show this morning none other than MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan, and I need not tell you that he is the member of a legislative assembly who represents Georgetown Central. Mr. Bryan, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to your listening and viewing audience out there. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. A special good morning to Kim and Brack and my constituents of Georgetown Central. It's a pleasure to be on. I hope to speak about a few things that have happened in the legislative proceedings, as well as some current issues that we're dealing with and potentially some future issues that we'll be addressing in the Legislative Assembly come the end of this month. But before I do that, I would like to also send a happy birthday shout out to Miss Eleanor Connolly. Today's her birthday. I want to wish her a very special happy birthday, and I hope she enjoys her day filled with love and happiness with her family, and may God bless her with many, many more. Since the last time we were together here on the show, we had a parliamentary sitting where a number of pieces of legislation were passed, and a number of motions were passed and questions were answered. But particularly there is one that was announced that will be coming up, and I'm hoping to get some feedback from my constituents in respect to an upcoming piece of legislation called the Domestic Partnership Bill. It's one that I'm hoping that my constituents take the time to get to know and understand. I've sent out as much as I possibly could the PDF format of the bill, which is pretty extensive, and it's quite hard to read a 48 pages piece of legislation and understand what it means in its totality, because obviously just reading that normally is one thing, but reading legalese, as they say, is a little bit different. So you want a common man's interpretation. I'm currently working on that process right now with the legal drafting department to take the bill and break it down and frequently ask questions in a layman's terms, and hopefully I'll have that out for Friday. But most people kind of understand what the domestic partnership bill is about, and it's basically just offering others who don't want to get married the same equal rights and opportunities as persons who would like to get married in all the other aspects of a relationship or a partnership. So that sums up the domestic partnership in itself, but I know that many people may want to understand all aspects of it. So if there's any particular questions that people have about the proposed domestic partnership bill, I would like to know them as soon as possible, potentially here on the show, because what I want to do is like I said, draft up a frequently asked questions and have answers available for them and release that to the public.
This is the government's response to the court ruling?
Yes, correct. As you know, in the past there was a couple, two females, one Caymanian, one non-Caymanian, who applied to be married here in the Cayman Islands. And the court ruled against it, saying that marriage is between persons of the opposite sex, but suggested quite strongly that we create legislation that was equivalent to that of marriage. And this bill is the bill that the government is proposing that will meet the criteria of giving and offering the same rights of that of heterosexual couples, but at the same time protecting the institution of marriage from the basis of our Christian heritage. And I think it strikes a good balance that all persons can be happy with. But I still know it's important for me to inform my people about all particulars of this bill. So because the average person may not go through the whole bill itself, I'm trying to draft up those frequently asked questions and have the answers available. So if there's anybody who's listening this morning who may have concerns about or queries about the domestic partnership bill that is being proposed, which is intended to be addressed at the end of this month and the next sitting of the House, please feel free to call in. I would like to hear them. I may not have the answer this morning for you, but I will definitely be taking note and see that I have those answers in what I call like a cheat sheet answer that I want to circulate in the community via Facebook, via WhatsApp to my constituents, and further publications on any radio station. So right now I'm just gathering that information, and if any of my constituents in my constituency of Georgetown Central want to speak to me about this bill, obviously I'm going to be taking a lot of, hearing a lot of your concerns, and queries and supports and whatever about this bill, you can call me or WhatsApp me. Chances are that if I am not be able to answer it, I'll definitely be able to get back to you on WhatsApp or text. And my number, my personal direct cell phone number is 926-0005. Again, 926-0005. If you can't get hold of me directly on the phone, you can always WhatsApp me. Just tell me your name and I will try to respond to you as soon as the next available minute is available to address your concern, and we can speak about it. But it is an important one, and I would like to hear as much as I can from my constituents on this.
Now, this is a 30-day public consultation. Is
Yes.
it a 30-day period?
Yes.
And I see something here that speaks about the fact that if passed in the Cayman Islands, the Domestic Partnership Bill 2020 would make the Cayman Islands the only British overseas territory in the Caribbean to recognize some form of same-sex union.
I'm not sure where that article, is that an article you're reading from?
It's.
I guess it doesn't matter whether where it came from, but whether it's a fact or not. And I can't answer that categorically to say whether or not what other jurisdictions in the Caribbean have.
Well, Bermuda passed basically considered one, but at the end of the day, I'll double check that. Before. Let me double check that before.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, though that may be possible, that we, if it's passed, could be one of the first Caribbean islands to do so. But whether we're first or last, I think is not as important as to what the people understand the bill to mean. This bill, in some cases, may be a lot for persons to digest, but I think it's a fair bill. I believe that all persons are created equal and should be given the equal opportunities just like everyone else. But at the same time, respecting our Christian heritage, and I'm happy that we have secured the protection of our traditional understanding of what marriage is, and with its religious context to it. But I think that this bill gives and offers the rights that we're obligated to through the Geneva Convention. So, and what we voted on in our Constitution as well. So, I just want persons to fully understand that, because ideally at the start of this, I thought it should be something to offer to the people and let the people choose in respect to that. For whatever reason, the government has not decided to put this to referendum and let the people make the choice. So we as legislators have to act on behalf of the respective constituencies that we represent. And this is the process of trying to speak to my people through these various different forms. I must say, though, that the 30-day consultation period, I don't think is most adequate, because the 30 days that we have are not in your normal circumstances, in your normal environment. The normal process for any kind of bill is for it to be gazetted 21 days before, and you technically have 21 days to go out and talk to your people about the bill, unless the government takes their own initiative and have a consultation period with the public. And in this case, they conceded to my request from a few months back, I think almost a year now. When we heard about the ruling, I sent an email to the governor and the cabinet asking for more than the 21-day normal notice period, and that's why they extended the 30 days. But it just so happened that the 30 days that is being granted has been granted under the environment of the pandemic, which creates a totally different environment, because we can't really have the town hall meetings yet. We're not real. It's not. I wouldn't advise for us to, go around, particularly to those who are stuck at home, so to speak, the elders, to expose them in any way. So I can't reach out in the normal way that I would normally do on on a bill of this significance. So there is limitations because I can't, the government hasn't decided to go out on a public media campaign breaking down this bill. I think it's important for that to happen. I intend to do so myself. That's why I'm currently developing the frequently asked questions and break down in layman's terms so I can send out to my constituents. But we don't have a lot of time because this bill is expected to probably be debated somewhere at the end of this month, either the 29th or the 30th. But we can talk more after we get back from the break in respect to it.
Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard. The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Before I throw the mic back over to Mr. Bryan, I read something earlier about the Cayman Islands would be the first in the Caribbean. I'm not sure whether or not that was written there since Bermuda is way up to the north of us and we're really not in the Caribbean. Yeah. But Bermuda did pass a Domestic Partnership Act in 2018, and this is from the Royal Gazette, and it reads, a new law to ban same-sex marriage but give gay and straight couples the ability to enter into civil unions comes into effect today, and that date was the 1st of January 2018. It says that the controversial Domestic Partnership Act 2018 became law as marriage equality campaigners await a ruling from the Supreme Court on their attempt to have part of the legislation struck out on constitutional grounds. The Domestic Partnership Act was approved by Parliament in December, sparking criticism from human rights activists and British MPs, including Prime Minister Theresa May. John Rankin, the governor, gave the legislation royal assent on February 7th. The act reversed a Supreme Court ruling in May last year that paved the way for gay couples to get married in Bermuda and on ships registered in the island. So this act was passed as a response to that. There have been 14 same-sex marriages on the island to date, plus 6 at sea on Bermudan flagged ships. The latest civil proceedings in Supreme Court were brought against Attorney General Kathy Lee Simmons by gay Bermudian Rod Ferguson and Mary Ellen Jackson and the Charity Out Bermuda. The plaintiffs claim the part of the act that reaffirmed that a marriage is void unless the parties are male and female was unconstitutional. Chief Justice Ian Kowali reserved judgment in the case. It is due to be delivered on the 5th of June. Same-sex couples had until a particular date to marry. Couples who want to apply for domestic partnerships can contact the General Register, blah, blah, blah. So Bermuda did have that in place. I believe, Mr. Brian, there's a press release that was issued. Were you able to find that? I think that it would be instructive to share that with our listening audience.
I want to say, though, that regardless of what is happening in Bermuda, that's not what is happening here. So there is no...
I mean, that's quite obvious. That's obvious.
What is about to come to the Legislative Assembly is a domestic partnership bill, which does not allow you to get married of the same sex. Now, this domestic partnership has a lot of other benefits other than the concern about the same-sex relationship and the ultimate recognition of those relationships by the state. But let me just read this release here for you from the government when they released it, not Friday gone, but the previous Friday before that. And it says, following the constitutional challenge by Ms. Chantel Day and Ms. Vicky Borden-Bush, seeking the right to enter into same-sex marriage, or at minimum, a declaration that provision should be made for them to enter into a civil partnership, and following an initial ruling from the Grand Court to the fact that the Bill of Rights gave them the right to marry, the matter was appealed by the government to the Court of Appeal. On the 7th of November 2019, the Court of Appeal delivered its ruling. The court ruled that as the law currently stands, marriage in the Cayman Islands can only be between couples of the opposite sex. However, although the Court of Appeal found against Chantel Day and Miss Vicky Borden-Bush, the court went on to make a very unequivocal and strongly worded declaration to the effect that Day and Miss Borden-Bush are entitled expeditiously to legal protection in the Cayman Islands, which is functionally equivalent to marriage. Now, I want to say that again, because this is going to be important in respect to this bill. That is functionally equivalent to marriage. Not marriage, but functionally equivalent to. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Which means that it would have similar functions as marriage.
Yes. The court observed, among other things, that it was apparent for several years that there is an obligation to provide such framework and that the failure to do so was woeful. The court observed that this failure of the Legislative Assembly is a continuing violation of Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights. Further, the court made the point that the executive, which is the cabinet, and the legislature, which is us all members of parliament, are expected to obey the law and respect decisions of the court. It went on to state that it would be woefully unacceptable for this declaration by the court to be ignored, whether or not there is an appeal to the Privy Council. Accordingly, in keeping with that declaration of the Court of Appeal, the government has agreed to have the Domestic Partnership Bill considered by the Legislative Assembly following a 30-day public consultation. And now that's where we're at in respect to things. The government has released this Domestic Partnership Bill to the public. and asking persons to look into the bill and read it. I must say there hasn't been much fanfare about the bill itself. I think the government can definitely do a little bit more, get out there on the radio, potentially do some videos explaining. But that's for them to answer why they're not talking more about it. But in my obligation to try my best to inform my constituents, the people who I am responsible to, I'm speaking about it regardless of the controversy surrounding it. It's my legal obligation to do so.
I think we should just point out in this release also that they also point out that anyone who wanted to make comments on the bill by members of the public who wanted to make comments on it can forward that to the Legislative Drafting Department at cheryl.neblett@gov.ky.
Yes, sorry, my apologies. So that email, if you have concerns about this bill and you want to send your concerns to the drafting department, that's the email that you send it to, and it's CHERLETT@gov.ky. Or you can carbon copy to the Portfolio of Legal Affairs on the 4th floor of Government Administration Building.
Okay.
I think this one is a bit difficult because one of the things myself and another member of the Legislative Assembly pointed out was if this is sent out to public consultation for 30 days and then we debate it at the end of the week, at the end of the month, how can people be given enough time to send their comments in? And what if those comments are taken? Where does the drafting team get enough time to add those viewpoints into the bill? Because the bill is already in a draft format. So if there's a legitimate concern that comes up, when are they going to squeeze it in? Because then...
Well, couldn't it be done at the committee stage amendment? Because you would have there would have to be agreement that whatever the government... What we have in a bill now is based on the government's instructions to the legal department and approved by cabinet to go to the Legislative Assembly. So if they receive this now, they would collate, I would imagine, whatever responses that they receive. They would collate them, present them at the committee stage, possibly at the Legislative Assembly for any changes.
Well, if that is the case, then there's not much time for consideration, is there? And who gets the consideration of that? I guess it goes back to how long.
But it's working the same way that any other bill that is presented to the Legislative Assembly works.
No doubt. I'm not trying to deny that, but we can't say that this is any other bill either. This is not your typical bill of rezoning or financial services regulated. I think we must admit that this is going to be a culturally changing one that has a lot of emotions attached to it, a lot of things that has religious consequences in the public's viewpoint, a lot of rights and or lack of rights being addressed, and I think that they all should. I mean, I personally think this is a balanced bill for that, but it's not your normal bill.
Okay, let's see what this caller has to say about it then. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning. I'm Mr. Osi.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to the guest. Rambo Manfredman speaking.
Good morning, sir.
Osi. Yeah, Mr. Osi, before I finish 18 lanes, right? Just tolerate me.
Okay, sure.
First of all, right, head section out there, that my driver, my turn on, right? And obviously we Montana's contemporary era, right? And like I said, now, if that pass through, right, the Pandora box will open up in a last resort, legalization of a brothel or a whorehouse. You understand? That'll get go, right? That'll come more than a mosquito. And the point you make now, the former commissioner, being right, a civil servant, a career officer, right? He was a conceptually derived with the idea, right, of decriminalizing herbs, right? He operated for a political centrist, avoiding the right or left wing, You understand? So see, that he's philosopher, right? Look into that years ago, right? And two more things I say, before I wrap up.
Okay.
The herb thing, that's essential, and a lot of people they afraid of it because it's a taboo topic. That needs to free up to the max. And the corona crisis, or COVID-19, when you call it, that's a chronic, that's sticking. They're here to stay now, globally. You understand? Despite how it flares up. And one thing was take a finish now. You're aware about Kanye West, right? He running for the Democrats, right? Kanye West. You know right, the hip hop artist?
Yeah. He announced that he's going to challenge Donald Trump,
But hold on, let me do he hit the beat now. The thing about it now, him and Trump affiliated now. So that's political strategy. You understand?
Yeah, because he's pretty tight with Trump.
They're down the tight now. But if Trump step out, he have advantage, but I doubt that. And you know who endorsed him? His wife endorsed him, Kim. And Elon Musk, you know?
Yeah.
So he take care, man.
Rambo, you take care too. Nice hearing from you. Stay safe.
Yeah, man, that's up.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan will continue. So please stay tuned. Don't change that dial.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Mr. Bryan, back over to you, sir.
Yes, I kind of lost my way in respect to where we're at, but
well, you were talking about the time frame within which to respond.
Yeah. So
feedback.
We have 30 days from I think it was the 28th or 29th, last Friday of June was when it was released. Let me just double check my email here, and I'll be able to tell you.
Okay, I'll give out the phone number while you look for that. 1-800-534-8255. That's our toll-free number. 949-8037, 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Ready for us?
Yeah. The bill was released on the 26th of June, that Friday. With 30 days, you're going to get till probably about the 27th, because it's 30 days in June. You're going to get to the 27th of July. And the Premier gave indication that this bill will be heard at the end of this month. So, I mean, by all means, I think a lot of people in the public have flushed out this discussion quite often, and have a basic understanding of where their position is about this. But if we just break it down in its simplest terms, this bill is a bill that offers up the administrative document that manages a relationship between two individuals, heterosexual or homosexual, and it awards them the rights that would normally be offered to persons who are married, which would be stuff like, if two individuals are married, they can be on each other's insurance policies, on their pension policies, and ownership of property, or if they get sick, they can have the last call, or the doctors have to speak to their partner in respect to what to do if they have to pull the plug, that kind of thing.
Entitlement to pensions, surviving partner.
Yeah.
So inheritance, things of that.
Yeah, I don't. I think that there's going to, some people feel uncomfortable from a Christian perspective, and I respect that and I understand that, because no one should ever question your faith, and the Constitution protects your faith. But I think those persons who may have chosen, for whatever reason, not to have the same understanding of the Christian faith still have the ultimate opportunity to the same equal rights. So with that being said, I don't think that because a person have decided, or is, I wouldn't even say decided, but a person is choosing to be in a relationship of a person of opposite sex, that they shouldn't have the same opportunities. It's discriminatory in a sense, because it's kind of like saying, okay, you're black, you shouldn't have pension or opportunities. And we've seen much of this type of discriminatory legislation in decades past. I think that we were right to challenge the marriage element, because in our cultural and historical principles, marriage has a religious context for us here in the Cayman Islands. But though that is the case, we still have to, for one, be responsible and mature, that regardless of a person's choice in their life, that they should be offered the same equal rights as anybody else. And this isn't about Caymanians versus non-Caymanians. I think it's fair to say that we recognize that there are Caymanians who are in this type of relationship as well, and their rights should be respected and adhered to. And my job is to protect all Caymanians to have equal rights in that respect. So I must say that I am mindful to support this bill, but I have to also recognize what the voice of my people say. So at this stage, I'm of the viewpoint that this bill should be supported and should be passed in the Legislative Assembly. As much of controversy that may or will cause, I think it's the appropriate and the right thing to do. That's my personal opinion. But I've always said that I am a representative of the people. I don't like the terminology as a politician. And a representative is a person who acts on behalf of another person. And in this case, I have 1,257 people to act on behalf of. And in those 1,257 people, there's various different views for various different reasons.
You might get 1,257 different views.
You are so right about that, OC. And that's where the challenge comes to the forefront, which is as their voice, making sure that I balance that. But so far, I am pleased to say that there's a lot of mature responses in respect to this, because I think it addresses everybody's concern and respect each other's viewpoints. The protection from our Christian perspective for those who are of strong faith is not impeding on them. Like, say, for instance, one part of the bill that will probably be on the cheat sheet is that for those persons who will be the officers of a domestic partnership, it's not going to be done in a church. It's not going to be done by pastors. A pastor cannot be obligated to oversee your domestic partnership ceremony, if you dare say, or signing.
Does there have to be a ceremony, or
It doesn't have to be.
Can it just simply be you recognize the fact that these two persons, and in some way they register that fact? So, for instance, if I'm putting on my insurance or on my pension who the next of kin that I want to to be the what do they call it, beneficiary, yeah. Well, things of that nature. So in the law, does it speak to any type of ceremony? You know?
No, not so far, and I'm almost through it now, so I can speak to some of it, but I don't want to speak too much to it, because I want to make sure that my interpretation of what I've read is appropriate before misleading the audience. But ceremony, I want to highlight the fact that a ceremony is an optional choice of the individuals, regardless of what kind of relationship, whether it's marriage or not. Okay. The signing element of marriage or partnership or whatever is always a private situation. There's always you, yourself, and the witnesses. When I say private, meaning nobody else signs that document. If you've chose our traditional way of marriage have always encouraged to the signing be celebrated within the ceremony of acknowledging a marriage. So I can't say to you that when there is a domestic partnership, there won't be a ceremony. And I think it's unrealistic to expect for there not to be one, because even today, if a person wants to say, listen, I want to just celebrate that I'm in love with somebody, there's nothing the law can do or should do, in my view, stopping a person from celebrating their love for one another. So the ceremony part is not something that is going to be covered within the law, because it's just something of choice. The part where the law comes into play is the administrative document that legally covers the role and the legalities of that relationship. But what I was trying to say was that one of the concerns that I heard, and I think I can safely say it won't be an issue, was, can a pastor be forced to oversee a domestic partnership signing? No. The law creates provisions for separate officers that will be given powers as domestic partnership officers. And a church cannot be forced to or be seen as discriminatory and not overseeing this. So a pastor who normally would marry persons can be a domestic partnership officer as well as a marriage officer if they choose to. If they don't want to, they don't have to. A person can be a domestic partnership officer on their own, or they can be both, or they can be none. So it's basically separating the two worlds and protecting what we understand as marriage in a separate way.
Okay, Ms. Susan, do we have enough time to grab the caller? Okay, let's take the call. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and good morning, MLA Kenny Bryan.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, what exactly are you saying?
Is there a particular part that you didn't understand that you might want to highlight?
What exactly is the motion that you want to bring to the floor of the House to be passed?
I'm sorry, sir. I don't think I've said anything about me bringing a motion. What I said was the government is bringing a domestic partnership bill. Let me say that again. The government is bringing a domestic partnership bill at the end of this month. Nothing to do with Kenneth. I didn't say I was going to bring one. But the bill has to be discussed by the community, my constituents, and everybody in this country to give feedback to how they feel about the domestic partnership bill.
Exactly is the domestic partnership bill? What is it?
Well, it's a bill that governs and manages the relationship between persons who want to be together but not want to be married.
Because you all just passed a law that same-sex marriage is not allowed in Cayman, right?
Correct.
So what exactly is this is this domestic law then?
Well,
it's short of marriage.
Yes.
Short of marriage?
Yes.
What exactly is that?
It doesn't equate to marriage. It's not the same as marriage, but it's recognizing two individuals to be in some sort of union that gives them certain legal and human rights as well. Legal and human rights.
You all are saying what the judge recommended then?
No. Well, the judge recommended that some sort of partnership law should be put in place by the Legislative Assembly. That's the Court of Appeals. That was what they recommended. Yeah.
Okay, because I don't think any type of homosexuality should be encouraged in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Any type of homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the downfall of our country, because that is the downfall right now of America and England. And they're suffering from it right now. And we don't need that here in the Cayman Islands. And our forefathers would not agree with anything concerning encouraging that type of relationship.
Yeah. We've reached top of the hour. Headline news, 9 o'clock. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only two species that we have, on the island.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
In the coming weeks, the Community Policing Department will be out in force across Grand Cayman supermarkets and complexes with their command vehicle to continue their distribution of reusable protective face masks. Deputy Governor the Honorable Franz Manderson told lawmakers during a recent session of the LA that there have been 47,584 masks distributed on Grand Cayman, 3,200 on Cayman Brac, and 176 on Little Cayman. The United States has registered a record daily tally of new cases, 60,000. The UK's chancellor is set to announce an additional $2.5 billion to create jobs for young people. France's prime minister has ruled out another general lockdown. Serbians have been angered at their government's handling of the pandemic clash with police in Belgrade. The WHO says there is emerging evidence the virus can spread through particles in the air. Melbourne is set to go back into a second lockdown after a surge in cases. And the latest global totals show more than 11.8 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 and over 544,000 deaths. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Emily, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. One of our listeners has written in and said, good morning, Mr. Connor. Please remind Mr. Bryan that marriage between a man and a woman has nothing to do with culture or belief. It is the word of God. Has he ever seen two roosters together or two hens? God help us. Just for the benefit of our last caller, as well, I should just like to point out to him what the Court of Appeals said, that basically Chantel Day and Vicky Borden-Bush are entitled expeditiously to legal protection in the Cayman Islands, which is functionally equivalent to marriage. So which will function, which will act, which will work the same way as marriage in terms of rights.
Yeah, in terms of your administrative relationship and the legal relationship outside the love itself. I think it's important to recognize, though, that there is the dispute in our community, our different views as to how we should love somebody, how we should be with somebody. But ultimately, that is a personal decision. I don't think that I can be told not to love my friend who is a male. So it can't be about the love that we're concerned about, but the act that many people feel uncomfortable with, the act of the sexuality. And sometimes I'm a bit uncomfortable knowing that many people don't recognize that the act that many people have discomfort with is already actually legal here in the Cayman Islands. If you may recall, OC, and I've said this before, I try not to talk about it too much because I know it creates a lot of controversy. There was a law that before that made it illegal for two males to be together, and the police could charge you for that.
Buggery. I think it was called buggery law.
Correct. I don't even like using the word because it creates so much controversy in my community, and I don't want any division, particularly in these times. But that law was already taken out of our documents of administration of our society.
I think what it basically did was anything done in the privacy of your own home, it did not criminalize
yes.
it. Yes.
So in a sense, there's no different. So in other words, it's legal. It is legal in the Cayman Islands to have consensual sexual acts with a person who are of the opposite sex.
Inside the home.
Inside your home. But heterosexual sex can't be done outside your home either. So I just think it's fair to say it's legal, right? So when you think about the concept of what people are concerned about, which is the act, not the love, because unless you're saying that I can't love you, OC, and you're a male and I'm a male, that means I can't love my father. That means I can't love my son. I can't love my brothers. And neither can mothers love their daughters or love their mothers or any other female for that fact. They're best friends. So it has to be the act. So I remind those who may have that concern that actually is already legal. But then I try to remind myself in the bigger picture that this is actually about the administrative document that the government used to allocate rights to people. And rights to people who, regardless, you see, there's this perception that these rights are to non-Caymanians. I always look at everything I do from rights to Caymanians. And any decision I make or any act that I do is always on the basis of fighting for Caymanians. And one of the things that a lot of people sometimes don't recognize is that the rights of gay Caymanians have to be protected. It's no different than protecting a disabled person or a black person, because it's still discriminatory to say that this person cannot have the right to say, I'm in a contractual agreement with another person that I care about, and you are in a contractual agreement with a person you care about. You get the privileges of, okay, if we buy a home together, we can have the discount of a married couple. But because I am not considered under law marriage, I don't get that same equal right. Now, regardless of what we feel about the act, and I'm never going to ever question somebody's religious position, because that, if I question that in itself is discriminatory. So I'll be just as bad as the accusation that is being said. So we all have the right to have our own choice from a religious perspective. But that perspective cannot impede on somebody else's right. So my right can't impede your right. So I think a couple of the same sex that are Caymanians should never be disenfranchised from the same opportunities as a heterosexual couple of Caymanians. And this is not about foreigners against Caymanians. I'm looking at this. There's many Caymanians that I know, that I love, and that I care about, and that I'm legally responsible to being there for. that are being disenfranchised because we don't have a bill that is equivalent to marriage. Now, I do respect that marriage under our belief system is a religious construct. But that religious belief is a choice. I have to respect and understand that that is a choice. And because a Caymanian chooses to may not necessarily agree with all the principles of that choice, they should not be disenfranchised from the rights that we all voted on. We voted on the Constitution, OC, in 2009. And many of us may not have recognized what we're saying, but we have said so. And the rights that are within that Constitution protects all Caymanians to have the same equal opportunity. So, again, I say all of that, but to be minded as a representative that I am guided by the people in my constituency. And at this particular point, I want the discussion to be between me and those who put me in the Legislative Assembly to say, listen, I want to hear your concerns, I want to hear your views, but here's how I see it at this particular point. But I understand the controversy, and let's talk about it. And there's a mature way to handle this matter.
So will you let your conscience at the end of the day guide your vote, or will it be the feedback from your people? Which one?
I think it's going to be a combination of both.
How can it be a combination? You can't.
Well,
that'll be like sitting on unless you unless you were to abstain from voting.
No. You see, here's the dilemma, and this is why I was talking about the consultation period. Ideally, you would want a substantial amount of persons giving you direction in respect to this bill. But within this environment, if I can't even have a public meeting because we're not allowed to gather more than 25 people, I can't really go around to many of the seniors who need that discussion about this because of the coronavirus element. How much response am I going to get? I personally am not happy that we only have 30 days, much of it which is already gone, right? And it's happening at this particular point because I'm never going to get the true feedback. I'm worried that if I get 10% of the 1,200, I may get a lot because of the parameters of the pandemic and the regulations that we have. So am I to take 100 people's viewpoint out of 1,200 and use that as my guide? That's why I say it's a combination of both. Ideally, OC, I think this should go to the people. That's my personal view. But the government hasn't chosen to do that. And
you didn't say to the people by
way of referendum. Yeah.
But the Premier has acknowledged the fact that they're obligated to adhere to the dictates of the court.
No. You see, I didn't want to bring this up because I don't want to have a dispute with the government. But that actual statement is contradictory. Here's why. He says they were obligated to the courts, but he read another statement just on last week when the courts ruled against CPR on the dock to say the courts can't overrule the government or the Legislative Assembly, so you can't have your cake and eat it too.
But the courts in this case ruled in the government's favor, but made a strong
suggestion,
a recommendation, and note one word that they used there: unequivocal. Right? Equivocal would mean with equal voice, almost saying yes and half no. Right?
Yeah.
Unequivocal. They quite clear in it. Like the old people would say, make no ands and buts of it. This is a recommendation, a recommendation of the court. They felt that they were bound by that. And I think that the courts put it in as strong language as they could, recognizing that there are boundaries between the judicial and the legislative branch, and it's up to the legislature. So they can only strongly recommend.
Yeah, well, so if it's just a recommendation, we don't have to adhere to it.
But
it's a recommendation.
But to ignore the dictates of a court, that's showing disdain for the court, and it's not setting a good example.
Okay, and I would say there's some truth to that. But what do you say when the courts said that the government's referendum law was inadequate and it should be done over? The court said that too. So which are we obligated to hear from the courts or not? And which court?
No, that's why we go to the courts, because they would have the final decision.
Yeah, and the government has the right to appeal those positions as well. What I find here is that the government is choosing which ruling that they are happy with. Because, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're wrong in this aspect, right? But we're using the focus of this bill coming to the House now and circumventing the normal process which a controversial bill like this should go through, which is a lot more public consultation and potentially to a referendum, to say because the courts have said it has to be dealt with expeditiously. I could understand that before the pandemic, now would have been a great time to address the matter, but the pandemic is here and it's creating some limited working space for us to get to our people. But anyway, that being said, I don't want to go back and forth about the government should bring it out or not. I think that the bill so far presents the equality that is necessary for Caymanians who choose not to be have a relationship or a document that registers their relationship that's called marriage. Because remember now, this is not only about same-sex individuals. It could be people who go, you know what, I just want a legal document between me and my partner that have been together for 25 years that is of the opposite sex, but we bought property together, we've been living together. If anything, I want this person to say anything for me if I get sick, but they don't want to get married. So it's not only about same-sex relationships.
Okay, we have to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record with MLA, Mr. Kenneth Brown will continue.
The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA, Mr. Kenneth Brown. Mr. Brown, back to you, sir.
Yeah, I must say that this topic has definitely got me bewildered a little bit. I don't even remember where I was at. But yeah, I think we were talking about the courts and what part we should be listening to and what part we shouldn't be listening to. Ultimately, as I said before, I think that one thing I can't, as an individual and as a human being, stand for is discrimination against others. I do recognize and I respect, because I'm a Christian myself by faith, that what I understand and what most Caymanians believe marriage to be is that of a religious context. I've said this in the Legislative Assembly when we first debate this. And I know by all means I'm not going to win any hearts today because of the controversy of this topic. But I have to be honest with myself about what I understand the whole parameters environment of this discussion is about. So I said that marriage is a construct, in our view, in our foundation in the Cayman Islands, to be between a man and a woman. But we also signed up to a constitutional document that gives equal rights to all. And in those equal rights, it talks about discrimination. It talks about the fact that we cannot discriminate about persons who whether they choose to or whether it's born that way, whatever you may think about homosexuality, they have the equal opportunity to have many of the same things that is awarded to them from the administrative document that is just like a marriage. Like we can keep on going back to the practicalities of it, whether you and your partner owns land together, whether they're going to get your pension benefits, whether if you're sick, who makes the last call. So this is actually just about an administrative document that governs, that is recognized by the state, that governs your relationship and your assets. That's what it's really about. Mm-hmm. It's not about the act of sexuality, because none of us can stop individuals from choosing to do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So if what we're saying is that another person, because let's say, for instance, you disagree with homosexuality, which I know a lot of people do, you can't stop that. Mm-hmm. You don't have the right to stop that. You don't have the
and unless it impinges on any of your rights, why should you?
Yeah. So I know that it's going to be a difficult task to have this uncomfortable conversation, because you're asking people that are their foundation is in Christianity to say, listen, you can't stop something that your faith says to stop. And that's not something they're going to digest easy. And I know that it's uncomfortable. Sometimes I have conversations with persons about this, and I literally have to go home and cry afterwards, because I know that everybody's going to get pain as a result of this. You're talking about some very strong emotions. A person's whole faith and belief system against a person's personal rights to their life. And there's no way to get past this without some eggs broken. Like they say, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. And I'm hoping that throughout this discussion, at least we can try to do it in the most responsible and respectful way of recognizing all factors together. I mean, I don't think that I would never say to you, OC, because you are of a darker color skin, that you don't have the rights. Now, I know a lot of persons say, well, it's not equivalent to that, but that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Or a person says, I was born disabled, therefore I can't be married. It's the same thing. There's the only difference here is that in our Christian faith, it is said to be that our faith says that homosexuality is bad. And I'm still, to be honest with you, I've been studying the Bible more so than I've ever done in a long time, because I'm now wanting to examine that myself in the context of where this viewpoint came from. Because I also have to look at the other parts of the Bible that says God says to love everybody. God also says not to judge. That's His job. Mm-hmm. So I must admit, OC, this is probably the most challenging topic, choice, and discussion that I have to do. But that's what I was sent here to do. And I'm going through it day by day by day. I can promise you, as soon as I get off the show, there's going to be a myriad of different angles and points that are going to come. But we have to get past it. And the day is coming, sadly. I'm not in control of when it comes. But this domestic partnership bill will be seeing the honorable floor of where our laws are created at the end of this month. And I don't want to, I could have chosen today. There was discussions last night with me and my team to say, should I go on the radio today? But I'm not going to run away from the realities of what we have to face. And this comes up, and I cannot look at another Caymanian that, for whatever reason, if they chose to be homosexual, they have to be given the same rights.
Would there be an option for you to say to your constituents, let me vote my conscience on this one? I've heard you. I've heard what you have to say. At the end of the day, let me vote my conscience on this one, because this one is important. And whereas I have a stake in all of the legislation that comes, this one strikes a little bit closer to home in terms of the rights act, the human rights aspect of it as well. Let me vote my conscience on this. Hold me responsible if you want at the end of the day.
That might be a good idea, to be honest with you. That might be a good idea. I wish I was given the freedom to say, Kenneth, do what you think is right. But that's not how I see democracy to be working. And remember, again, I keep on going back to this word. I'm a representative. And I'm hoping that I can get a mature response from by way of majority from my constituents. I'm just worried that I'm not going to be able to get to do that. That's why I said to you, maybe a mix of both. Because what do I do if I can only get a response of 150 people in my constituency, when I know that there's another 1,100 out there who you can't hear from because of the parameters of the pandemic?
So to make clear to our audience, if the majority of your constituents, and not just 100 or 200, but if you were able to canvass your 1,200 plus, and the majority of them said, no, we do not agree with it, you would then vote against it?
I would legally be obligated to.
You're not legally.
No, if you believe in democracy.
You based on your belief in terms of how you represent your constituents, that you believe that I should follow the dictates that they make in terms of that, but you're not legally. You're not legally held to that.
Well, there's no law that's going to lock me up for not vote or not listening to them. But I would be hypocritical to come here and say that let me rephrase that.
So your constituents, even when they're wrong, they're right? They're going to be right?
Are you suggesting that they're wrong?
No, but in cases where they might be wrong, and you get the majority of them saying, we want this, but they're wrong, and you go along with it?
Well, in
they're not going to always be right.
No, but okay, so when do I or any other member decide to say when they're right or when they're wrong? Hold on, you said something. Let me say something to you now. I'm giving you an example.
Okay.
So let's just say, for instance, the government had a referendum on the port, and 55% of the country who voted on it said, no, we don't want the port. Do you think the government has the right to still go forward with the port?
Depends. If it's a referendum, if it's a legal binding one, they don't have the right to.
Well, I see my representation of my people exactly to be the same way. I could never possibly do a proper poll survey and the results, and I believe in those results, and they said to me, Kenneth, we do not want you to do this, and then do it. That would be not listening to your people.
The only reason that you would,
the problem we have today.
One of the primary reasons that you would do that would be because you want them to vote for you the next time around. If there's no consideration about your future political career, then as a legislator, you do what you feel is right. Now, what you feel is right may be following the dictates of your party, or what you feel is right may be.
Isn't that what's wrong with politics today? That politicians always think they know what is better than what the people believe.
That's why they elected you.
So you're saying that the people...
They elected...
Hold on. I want to understand what you're saying. I really want to understand what you're saying, OC. You're saying to me that the people of Georgetown Central put me there to make decisions on their behalf because I know better than them?
Because you're able to represent... Let me put this right. Yes. Yes.
All right.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have elected you.
Fair enough, and that's a good viewpoint. And I promise you, I know my advisor is listening right now, and we're going to have a hot topic this evening. But this is the challenge that I'm going through, because I believe in direct democracy. I believe in participatory democracy, and I think that's the right thing to do. Can I say to you today that I am not of the viewpoint? If this decision was mine solely, mine only, without any consideration to my constituents, I would support the bill. And that's the honest truth, because it's the right thing to do. Now, what I think a leader's job is to do is to inspire and make the people feel comfortable enough to say, listen, this is going to be okay. It's not going to impede on your own personal rights. Our religion and our foundation of our spiritual Christian heritage is not at risk here, and it's not going to stop you from going to church. It's not going to stop you from having faith in God. Matter of fact, the heterosexual marriage relationship is not going to change at all. This is just giving the rights to those who decide, for whatever reason, that they want to be with somebody of the opposite sex, to have a recognized rights of their own, you know?
Have to take a break, and we have a caller who has been waiting for a while. We will take that caller as soon as we take this commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you Monday through Friday by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For information as it happens and questions on the emergency withdrawal pension program, visit chamberpension.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines. As we promised, caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Not too bad, sir. I actually have a few questions and comments. I actually really don't know where to start, but it's so much. First of all, Mr. Connor, your interpretation of a representative is off a little bit. Actually, off a lot. I
Stretching it, yes.
Yeah, I believe Kenneth have the responsibility to represent the majority of his constituents. So
yes.
And I don't know if you're being facetious in that one, but Mr. Bryan.
Yes, sir.
Question: do you think the bill should be decided by 19 members of the Legislative Assembly or by the electorate?
I think it should be done by the electorate.
Okay. So will you be asking or requesting the government to put this to a referendum?
I've done so about 4 times already, but I will be doing it again in the House. But
on this bill?
Yes,
on
bills.
Publicly on this bill.
Yeah. Well, if you may recall, after the ruling of the court on the case before, there was another motion brought for it to be appealed, and everybody debated about it. And even from then, I said this should have gone to the people a long time ago. We should never even be here. Even the elected member from Savannah, the Honorable Anthony Eden, had suggested this many years ago to go to a referendum as well. But for whatever reason, the executive arm, the government of the day, never seems to think it's important enough to go to the people. I don't know why.
So educate me a little bit. So you're saying there's no way that we can force the government to put this to a referendum?
No, there definitely is a way. I mean, if there was a petition done by a people's initiated referendum process, you can go out and get the 5,000 signatures today and say to the government, no, we want this by referendum. That doesn't mean they might bring it to the House before the referendum signatures are done. You have that right, and the public has that right if you wanted to force the government to put it to referendum.
Okay. I also need you to inform Mr. Connor how the bill was brought to the LA, because it wasn't by the cabinet. I need that to be put out in the public domain.
It wasn't by the cabinet?
It was not brought by the cabinet.
Who was it brought by?
You have an elected representative in there that's privy to more information than I do. He could advise the public who brought the bill. to the House?
Well,
And who
the bill hasn't been brought to the House yet, but I get what you're trying to get at. I think that he's trying to say that this may be pressured to come to the Legislative Assembly by other means other than the elected arm.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can agree or disagree with that viewpoint because I don't have any evidence of that. But I can say to you that the release, the press release came from the Premier's office that his administration will be bringing the bill. Now, what I do also understand is that the bill won't be brought directly by the Premier himself. If I could be standing
introduced.
It won't be introduced to the House by the Premier. It will be introduced, I understand, by the Attorney General himself, which is understandable because this comes from a legal ruling and legal drafting perspective, and he's been covering most of those bills related to any legal challenges in the Legislative Assembly for the last few years.
And really, at the end of the day, it's not who's bringing the bill forward. What you really want to listen to is the debate that takes place, if any debate takes place. Yeah. Caller, I want to thank you very much. We still have a few more callers queued up. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning.
And Mr. Brian.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, just a question I want to ask, and I will hang up. To Mr. Connor and you, Mr. Brian. As a Christian, well, I'm not fully a Christian, but I believe in the Christian faith and everything, right? Do you think it is right for Christians to send their children overseas to countries that have already implemented same-sex marriage or same-sex union? Could you elaborate on that for me? Thank you.
Okay.
I heard this question before, so I think I have the context. Let me elaborate a little bit. There is a viewpoint that many people who oppose same-sex relationships and same-sex marriages and unions and the like, that we are willing to, even if we don't support it, send our children to be educated in other jurisdictions that support that. And ultimately, it could be, say, for instance, you go to a university that is embracing, the LGBT community, and we sometimes subconsciously...
Well, unless they take teaching a course on...
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that the viewpoint is strong, whereby that doesn't mean that you have to embrace the culture because you go to a country of it. Yeah. But his viewpoint is that, you send them to the countries that embrace it, but yet we're quick to criticize it. Mm-hmm. I see his angle. Don't necessarily 100% agree with it, but I see what he means by we are willing to castigate these individuals, but we're sending our children.
We embrace them in certain respects, and in others, then we
don't. Yeah.
Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Morning, Doc. How are you? Hope you're doing well.
Good morning to Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Stephen Field here.
Good morning, Dr. McField. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I would just like to remind you and remind your audiences that words, every word has a meaning. Words are like a video. They carry a meaning and a message. Mm-hmm. And you just can't speak words alone and then expect that they're not connected and they do not carry a message to the people who are reading them. Just the same as the video is carrying a message to the people who are seeing the video. Now, in the question before the courts was not a question about civil unions. The question before the court was whether or not these two people had the right to be married in the Cayman Islands under the marriage law and according to the Constitution. What the courts held that they did not have that right. That is a precedent that other courts will follow or not follow. Depends on in fact, all the courts in Cayman now has to follow what the Court of Appeal said. except because it has not gone any further than the Court of Appeal to the Privy Council. So that is the precedent. That's the law now in Cayman. What the judges say, by the way, before or after they have answered the question, is not a here or there. Those are only opinions of judges. And governments don't have to follow opinion of judges. Other courts do not follow the opinion of judges when we call it in law, by the way, what they have said, by the way. So their opinion, by the way, or their declaration, by the way, on whether or not Cayman should go into have some sort of civil partnership is not law. And the Cayman government doesn't have to follow that.
But not, Doc, not only did they recommend that the Cayman Islands government do something, but they also recommended that if the Cayman Islands government didn't do something, that the UK government should as well.
But that's their recommendation, but that's not law.
Doc, do you see that as sorry? Do you see that as judicial activism of sorts?
Exactly, that's what it is.
Okay.
Well, that is what it is.
I'm going to get back to that in a second, but Doc, I agree with your assessment of the matter. But can I ask you this? Do you not still think, though, that Caymanians, whether they choose to or they were born that way, whichever way they are that way, that are homosexual, shouldn't have the equal opportunities as those who are heterosexual in the Cayman Islands?
You know, I hear you and your counterparts, the people who are in the opposition, Mr. McLean and the other people, and they're always saying, that's what I say, words have a meaning. Words have meanings. They always says the government will have its say, and the opposition, the government will have its way, and the opposition will have its say. The majority of people in Cayman has made their decision, and they put it into the marriage law, and they put it into the Constitution, and that's to me, that's where it ends.
So are you saying no? Are you saying no then? Because I would challenge that comment by saying that if you're saying it's in the Constitution also says that persons should have the equal rights. So if you're saying that they voted on the Constitution and they had their say, what is their saying? Because I think there's a conflict within the Constitution by way of saying marriage is between a man and a woman, but yet still persons should have the equal rights, and the equal rights cannot be afforded without this bill. So
Mr. Brian, read Section 16 of the Constitution.
Okay.
It says, Section 16(1), the discrimination section. It says that is subject to Section 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at those sections, it says they are exempted from the discrimination section in Section 1. Marriage, adoption, the devolution of property, the right to be, the right. There are a lot of people who are saying that there's no right to be. It's not a right. It is a right because there's Section 5 says that certain jobs in the public service that you can bring a law to say that only Caymanians alone can take those jobs. So to be Cayman is a right, and so you have to read what your Constitution says.
I do, sir. I do.
Marriage is not. The law of marriage and institution of marriage, it's not part of the Bill of Rights. Discrimination part of the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
And so that's the law. That is the law now, and that's the highest law in the land.
Okay.
And so if the government wants to do anything about it, what they should do, they should have a referendum to say whether we should change those things, whether we should appeal them or amend them. That's the right way to go.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Doc.
Doc, I want to thank you very much for that. Ms. Susan, do we have enough time for another caller before? Okay. One of our listeners has written in and said, please allow this question to Mr. Bryan. You just stated that you will not stand for discrimination against anyone. If that is the truth, do you support disabled parking at the closest point to upgraded disabled toilets on the seaside of the road at Smith Bacadere? Like every civilized country in this world complies with to avoid discrimination against the disabled. So this person has some concerns about the fact that some of our practices, some of the things that we put in place are discriminatory when it comes to disabled persons.
No doubt, and I would agree with the person. What the request there is not unreasonable and should be encouraged. It is a public beach area where many people use, and if a disabled person doesn't have the full access to it, like everybody else, that is discriminatory too in our behavior, in our administration of control of public parks. So I agree with them. I would support that. I think, to be honest with you, this is where politics gets quite difficult, because one of the reasons for supporting the development of Smith Cove was to increase and encourage amenities such as that for the Smith Cove area. But then you had another side saying you don't want to develop it at all. So politics is an interesting thing. You got to try to strike that balance, and what you think your balance is may not always necessarily be in agreement with what the majority says. So it's not a difficult task, but I would support that. I think what we have to do is be good leaders to encourage our people that say, listen, we disagree here, but I have to prove to you that my position is a strong one, is a smart one to take, because it's not your sole decision to make. You're representing people. So I agree with the comment.
We're going to take our last commercial break for the morning. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to take our last call before the show finishes. Before I do that, I just want to share this one with you, Mr. Brian. It says, thank you, Mr. Kenneth. Thank you for speaking for those who have been in a relationship for several years, yet don't want to take their relationship into a marriage.
Well, you're very welcome, and recognizing that this is not only about the homosexuality part. This also, like I give you an example. I have a family member who's been with the same person for over 20 years, and they just don't want to get married. They feel that the marriage part isn't that for them, but they would like a document that they can use to govern their assets and their process of life. So I know that their children would not be able to come and say what's the last call for them at the hospital. They would rather their partner to do that. This, if we take away here's a question I would ask. If we took away the same-sex part from it, would this bill be good? If you just took that out, well, if that's the case, then the only problem here with this bill is actually the feeling of the sexuality and what we feel about that. And that's how I have to look at it from a practical standpoint. And then I have to go back to, if we insert that, what's the benefits of inserting the same-sex part of it, which is ultimately giving those persons the same rights and opportunities. It doesn't take away from any of us, this bill. And I want us to think about it. I want us to digest that for a minute and just go, does this actually hurt me? Does this actually stop me? Because I don't think it does. And I think that I don't know what the public is, I don't know what the bill is going to say, but I suspect that if this bill was to pass, 2 or 3 years from now, we're not even going to be talking about it. Exactly. There's going to be so much more important things to be discussing right now, especially with this pandemic, especially with Caymanians without jobs.
And those who are opposed to it are going to find that it hasn't made any difference in terms of their life.
Yeah.
Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning. How are you?
And Emily
nice
Bryan.
to hear your voice.
Thank you. I'm actually just been able to take a little bit of a break and just have hopped onto your show the last minute.
Okay.
But I feel compelled to say something as a citizen and also something as a lawyer, which I haven't worn that hat in a while. We live in a democratic society. I think Caymanians at the end of the day want to ensure that every one of our citizens and our residents can live a life of dignity. And I do believe that we have to ask ourselves, are the complaints being made about affording persons who have a different sexual orientation equal protection under the law? Because that's what it comes down to. And I think Mr. Bryan touched on this. It's about their protections under the law. Shouldn't they have a right to pass on their assets to the persons who are their partners if they're in a relationship, irrespective of their sexuality, quite frankly, for a particular length of time? Should they have to have other people make those decisions for them, but for our legislation doesn't allow them the avenues by which to pass the right on or to create beneficial status to these persons? And I think that's at the core of the question. We can talk about morality, but the state is not supposed to dictate morality. The state is not supposed to dictate what religion you follow. There is supposed to be a proper separation between the state and the individual and what the things that they hold true. So I encourage a discussion on this topic. I believe that the young ladies, Ms. Day and her partner, who took this case forward, I think they're very brave to do so. And I commend them for doing so. And at the end of the day, these are our people.
Yes.
Right? We can talk about homosexuality, whatever form we want to talk about, but these are our family, these are our friends, these are our brothers, our sisters. It could even be me as an individual. So who is the other person to say you don't have a right to live equally and fully in the society that is your home? Right? I think the time I understand the concerns of some of the churches. I mean, everybody has their belief system, but a huge part of Jesus' word is to bring everybody into the fold and to love the other person at the end of the day. Yes. So I mean, we have, yes, our Constitution was written. It's been written many times. And whilst it may not allow for marriage for two persons of the same sex, it does not exclude the government and the society of the day to promote legislation that provides them with equal but equivalent rights. So I've listened. I have not had a chance to look at any bill as yet because I've been trying to keep the judicial court and support
and that's a challenge in itself, but you're doing a great job. I must congratulate you.
Thank you, and my staff, because they're the ones who are doing it. Thank you so much. But certainly, I wear a hat of a citizen also, and I hope and I trust that the legislatures make the right decision, because they have to remember that we are a growing society. We have a whole generation of young people who are coming up, and people want different things. If we didn't fight prejudice, you and I and Mr. Bryan would not be here as free people today.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay? Believe it or not, the church at some point taught that, black people were not people. In Parliament of the United Kingdom, they were trying to pass laws to say black people were not actually human beings.
Yes.
And look how far we have come because we have brave souls. You know, so really and truly, I hope that we continue having this discussion, and I hope that our legislature does the right thing. And I hope that those who are directly affected by this feel brave enough to stand up and open their voice and to be their own best advocates and go to your politicians. Go to them and speak up.
Yes.
Right? So that's my 2 cents on the matter. And I wish everybody the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that. Very, very, very constructive.
Yeah,
and I haven't heard a politician yet say, I don't want to vote from a gay person.
That's so true. That is very true.
Not
that
rejected that vote.
But Osi, I'm glad you said that point, because one thing I really want to keep away from this is the politics of it, because I've had discussions, and a lot of the times people go, Ken, you gotta watch this topic. You know, it's this might cause you the seat, and you're doing so good and all. And I go, if every decision that we do has to be taken from a political perspective of your survival in politics, then you're always going to be doing things just to survive in politics, and that's the road I don't want to go down, because what is next? The thing is, when somebody offers you $100,000 to keep you elected to help your people in your community, then there's so many different dark areas. And Georgetown Central, I love you very, very much. You know that. I fight hard. I work hard for you all day, every day, weekends, nights, mornings. But when we look at this discrepancy that we're dealing with in respect to other Caymanians, it is hard to look at other Caymanians that we know, whatever reason it is that they choose their life, whether it's because they were born that way or otherwise. How am I supposed to not love them and tell them they have the same rights?
They were all created by the same God that they serve.
And I just encourage you to think, please, because it's not right.
No, I realize, Mr. Brian, that this, you're deep into this. This has, you have a lot invested into this emotionally, as well, and that is extremely important. And at the end of the day, with your perseverance, you're going to come up with the right answer, with the right solution, to it at the end of the day.
I just really hope that the people in my constituency give me the permission to do the right thing, because I'm conflicted with my job and my role that I adhere to, which is take direction from my people. But in my opinion, I think this bill is the right thing to do. So, Georgetown Central, I ask you, give me the permission to support it.
You will. Just keep pushing your points along. Keep in contact with your constituents as much as you can, despite the COVID-19 situation. And what we would encourage the people of Georgetown Central to do also, to reach out to your elected representative. Your elected representative shouldn't always have to come to you. Reach out to him the same way that you may reach out to your representative for other means of assistance. Do so in this case. Reach out. Give your representative the guidance. You have a representative who is convinced, who believes that you elected him because you wanted him to represent you, not necessarily because he knows better, even though I believe that a lot of you elected your representative because they are able to articulate things much easier than you. They are braver to stand up in the Legislative Assembly and debate issues, to be on television. They're out there. They're brave to get out there and pound the pavement to seek the votes. So you have elected them for a purpose. But there are times when you may want to listen to them too, because they're deeper into this than you may be. They know all of the pros and cons as well. And in some instances, they are conflicted. They're divided one way or the other, and they need to be shown the right path. Then there are elected members of the Legislative Assembly who will say, you elected me to represent you. You have reposed your confidence in me that I will do the right thing on behalf of my, not only the constituency, but the island, the country itself as well. And they will go about doing that. And when it comes to election time, they will take their licks, they will get out there and they will justify what they have done. And at the end of the day, the people will make their decisions in that regard. Gone a little bit past, Mr. Brian, some final comments, sir.
Just to say thank you so much. I'm sorry for the little breakdown there. This is
That's
a
okay.
difficult job. I really care about what I do for my people.
Yes.
So thank you for the opportunity to speak. I love you, K-Man. Just let's all remember to love each other, because that's what God's asked us to do as well. So thank you for the opportunity. Hopefully this show was a little bit informative and we all learned a little something from it. Thanks.
Very much informative. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only two species that we have here on the island.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman.